So let's get right into it. You're looking for a way to type your notes, maybe submit some assignment, and Microsoft Word does not cut it. You want to have something structured, something that maybe you can include equations and you can have a proper referencing, numbering and stuff like that. Microsoft Word is just not enough, or maybe you're like me on Linux, there's no Microsoft Word for you. So what do? The obvious way is use LaTeX. I mean, this is something that everybody uses if you are basically doing anything scientifically related. So for example, as you can see, this is the way you usually type something with LaTeX, and yeah, I mean, I mean, the end product looks nice, but at the end of the day, you have lots of noise with the text that you're trying to write, and you have to, as you can see, I mean, you get no instant feedback. You always have to be compiling the file to see what's going on and as the file gets, believe me, as the file gets super larger, it takes ridiculously long time for it to compile. So what can you do? So comes in here we bring in something called TexMacs. I guess that's how it's pronounced, TexMacs or whatever. Maybe you've heard of it. So this is TexMacs. I'd like to show you today how it makes it ridiculously simple to type stuff, and so let's get right into it, because I don't want to waste too much time, as maybe I have a 15-minute limit. So step number one is, I don't want to say step number one as usual. Let's go to style. So whenever you're typing a document, whenever you have to set you have to choose some style, which means the way your document is going to end up looking. So usually if you're trying to write a book, you have chapters and stuff like that, so you can choose style, book. It has chapters, sections and stuff like that. But if what you're going to end up writing is not something super big, then you can use an article, which means you just have sections, subsections and things like that. So for now, let's keep things simple. We write with sections. The thing that you would, whenever you start, maybe you have something like a title, you would like to say my book, whatever, or maybe something, I don't know, okay, let's just say title, right? Title, nice. Then you put your name, whatever, MSc or whatever that means. And then maybe if you'd like to add some extra stuff, you can see here there's always a plus sign, plus, and then you can say date today, maybe dates today, fine. This part is clear now. After this, what sort of things one might expect to have with a document like this? Maybe an abstract if it's necessary. As you can see here, we have this insert menu. This is the place where you probably will find each and every item that you can insert into the document. Like, I mean, you can read this at your leisure. So let's go abstract. Then you can type whatever. It's quite simple. So you feel that part. So far, so good. Now we come into the part where you structure the document into sections, subsections. As I said, if you're using what you have available depends on the style. If you're using a book, you have chapters. If you don't need to have chapters, just sections, like something maybe a 10-page stuff, then yes, it makes sense to use an article. So the way you start is usually you want to have section 1, section 2, section 3. How you do that? You come with start an insert, you go to section, or you press Alt-1. Subsection Alt-2, let me just show you quickly. Alt-1, I have a section. Let's say I would like to maybe type some equations here. Let's say EQUATIONS, nice. Section 2, maybe you can say okay. I just press Alt-2, that is for a subsection. As you can see, it immediately numbered it for me as 1.1, which is exactly as you would like. You don't need to worry about numbering yourself, which is something, I don't know, maybe the last time I used Microsoft Word is kind of a nightmare to number things, and what happens if you switch chapters, maybe you end up with a mess. Anyway, so here you don't have to worry about all of that. Anyway, let's go make maybe second one. Let me show you about how to do figures. Maybe if a third one, I'll show you again how to, let's say tables or whatever. So let's take these things one by one. Obviously, if you are thinking of using TexMacs, it means that one of the main priorities is how to type equations quickly. And this is something that TexMacs actually really excels at, in my opinion, because it not only has a very nice keyboard shortcuts to enter equations, to type in equations, it also allows you to define your own shortcuts. For example, let's say you would like to enter just an inline equation like this. let's say this is x. So to show that this is x, you can type, you can see this Greek symbol here. So you said it's not mathematics, it means to insert an inline equation, you need to enter the $sign. So basically $sign, so x, as you can see, or maybe Newton's equations, maybe you can do something like this, f, or if you like a vector format of it, VV. This is one of my own predefined shortcuts, because I sometimes tend to use the vector symbol a lot. So V is equal to MA, M multiplied by let's say A, again VVA. As you can see, very easy and very, very nice, and you get instant feedback. You see the equation. You don't need to wait to compile as in LaTeX. Next step, let's say you'd like to have a, how you might say, not an inline, but a display style equation. Again, you come here, as you can see the shortcut, all $sign, but I have one that I just made because I rarely use the combination of D and M together, so I just press DM. I get this one. So yeah, what are the sort of things that I usually do? For example, if I press SUM, as you can see, you get a sum sign. Maybe I equal to 1 to what? Maybe again to, let's say, N. 1 all over I. Yeah, this is one thing. Let's do, of course, as I said, there are lots of nice ways, nice shortcuts to enter certain things. For example, to enter alpha, you type an A, then you press tab, you get an alpha, let's say plus beta, B, beta, plus gamma. Again, you get the idea. But for example, for some reason, theta is not T, because T is for tau, so theta is J. So yeah, delta, I think you can do something. Anyway, you can also use LaTeX symbols like this. Delta, is that delta? Yeah, I guess so, that's delta. Then, yeah, to type in a fraction, you press Alt F. You can do something like this. That's nice. As you can see, it looks really, really nice, very beautiful. And integral, this is how you do it. You press -int. At least that's the way I do it. Integral. Then you can do 1. Then I'm just typing random stuff here just to show what you can do. Then sin x. Then usually when you type the differential is dx, but obviously you would like to have x here look the same way as this one. So the way you do it, you press D. If you press tab once, you get delta. You press tab again, you get D. Then you can now type x. It looks nice. This is the way it's supposed to look. There's so many different types of shortcuts that you can have, which you can probably check the manual for. One of the things that you probably let me just show you some of the cool ones. Like sometimes you would like to have a you have a specific notation that's used when you're doing vector multiplication, like component-wise multiplication. Let me just show it to you quickly. So I can press the @ sign. Nope. Okay. Let me just do something quickly. @ sign. As you can see, it gives me a circle. Now, if I press a plus, the plus goes inside the circle. This is like one of the shortcuts that you can do. As you can see, plus sign goes inside the circle, which is quite nice. Anyway, let me just show you another. One of the things that you might also like doing is having an equation array. So it's called here several equations. Again, you can use the shortcut for that. Let's say you say f of x, then you can see equal to sign. For example, let's say you want to expand x plus 2 squared, right? Nice. Then you press. This is the keyboard shortcut for the mode that I'm currently in. I press escape. I press down. It creates for me a second row where I can start inserting a continuation. As you can see, everything is aligned. This is called an equation array in LaTeX. If you're familiar with that, then you can do an x squared plus 2x, is it? Oh no, 4x plus 4. Anyway, so again, I can go on and on about how you can type in equations. It's actually super easy, and it gives you instant feedback of what your equation looks like, instead of maybe, I don't know if I have one here. Anyway, I don't have one here. So the next thing you would want to do is to label your equations. I mean, label, is it label? Yeah, label, not label, number your equations. So by default, numbering is turned off. So because numbering is turned off, you need to turn it on by yourself. So you can see the Roman 4 here. You press this one, it gives you this equation, and this other guy. Again, you press the same guy, it gives you the equation here. Now, let's say you would like to reference this equation at some point, at some other point in your document. You definitely need to label it. This is something which is even common in LaTeX, so it's nothing strange. But super simple here. You press escape as usual because I'm using one scheme mode here. Then I press okay. So after escape, I press the exclamation mark. It tells me label. So what exactly? Let's call this equation. You give it some name. Say random. Who cares? So this equation has already been labeled. Actually, there's really a nice fancy way. I don't know if it's here. Let me see if I can find it. Go view. To be honest, I don't know, but there's one thing which can make, I mean, just a fancy. Let's see if I can find it. Actually, I can't find it. Miscellaneous fonts. Nope. Oh man. I think there's something here which actually makes, which can show you, information flags. Let's go to detail. Let's see. As you can see, it really looks nice. I mean, it can give you an indication immediately of what you currently have and what you currently have labeled and stuff like that. So let me just show you quickly how you can label this, how you can reference this equation somewhere else in your document. Yeah, maybe you would like to reference this equation somewhere, maybe somewhere down here, but let's just do it here. According to equation, usually you would like to have, you can do it like this, then you put your equation 1 like this, right? But sometimes it's usually common to join these two guys together with a space, with an invisible space, such that if this guy goes to the next line, I mean, such that this guy doesn't fall by himself to the next line. Like you wouldn't want a situation where you have something like this. It doesn't make sense. So if this guy has to go to the next line because there's not enough space on this line, then both of them have to go together. So the way usually it's done here is you press space and then you press tab. So this means combine these two guys together for me in an invisible manner. Then you can come in here. So basically how you reference this equation, remember we call this equation EQ random, while inside here we can again escape, shift, what's called shift question mark, then we type in the name of the equation. As you can see, equation random, then boom, then we get this equation. Now this equation is clickable. It means if you click on it, you go directly to the equation, which is quite nice. This is the same for whatever, maybe if this guy was page 10 and you click on it, it will take you back to the equation so that you can see it. Easy way to find your way around. This is one. To be honest, I don't know really at the moment what else can I talk about equations instead of spending too much time. Let's go to figures. How obviously you would like to add figures to your document. Very simple, just type after you've done figure. Here you can type your caption as usual, and here there are two ways you can add. I mean, maybe there are more ways, but let's say you are on a web page and you find a JPEG, you can just copy it, or maybe on Firefox, if you're using Firefox, Control-C, and then you could just come here, Control-V. When you do it like that, the file itself, when it gets saved, it saves the image inside the file. But for me, the way I do it is because I don't want the file to grow in size. So I have my images saved on the disk so that when I come to, so that I can actually link the image to the document, which means the document loads the image from the disk instead of saving the image directly in this file. So you can come in here, for example, and then you press link image. When you link image, then you can, I think it's TT, then you can, I'm just using something like this. So this is a PDF file, which, as you can see, it's huge when it gets loaded for the first time. Now, one thing you have to notice is that it's super easy to scale this guy. So you can see width and this. So I basically am going to delete both of them. So when you delete both of them, I'd like this figure to occupy only 0.5%, I'm not 0.5, half of my paragraph. So if you imagine like you have an A4 size paper, the whole paragraph, it's maybe probably the allowed width of the A4 size, but I'd like 0.5 of that for this image for only this image. So I can put 0.5 PAR. PAR means paragraph, and boom. So you've centered this document. I'm not centered, resized it. Now, one thing that you also have to be aware of is that when you have at the moment this is a PDF. This is an image saved in a PDF file, which is a vectorized file, so that when you later on export to a PDF, you can zoom in 1000 times and it looks still nice. So which means TexMacs can actually save vectorized images. That's basically what I wanted to say. So that's, of course, you can put in two images side by side, which is very simple. Try to do that with LaTeX. You have to use some special packages, and it can be a nightmare, to be honest, like what happens if you change the size of the page and whatever. Anyway, next thing you might be interested in are tables. Okay, tables, again, similar idea. Tables, no table, that's that. Again, you do stuff like that. Now you can do your table just like this. You have a bunch of options. So maybe the one that we are currently interested in, the typical table, is like a centered block. Centered block, it gives you a single cell. So obviously you would like to have, let's say, 2 columns and 5 rows, or let's say 3 rows for now. So again, you press using the scheme, using the mode, and currently I have to press escape. Then I press right arrow. It creates for me a second column. Then if I press escape and a down arrow, it's second row again. Nice. Then I can start labeling this, maybe, who knows, name. Then I can say country, for example, whatever. While in here, you can even type equations, maybe, I don't know, sin X for some reason. Anyway, then you do something like that, whatever. Of course, you might say, okay, this doesn't look nice. Can we make it slightly larger, maybe? Yes, of course. Now, while you're in a table, you have all of these options here. So you can say, okay, I'd like to make it slightly bigger. So which means you're thinking of the padding. You have the padding, then you say all. I change it to something like, let's say 2 millimeter for some reason. Okay, it's larger, looks slightly better. Of course, you can center it, and all of these options like centering, of course. Or you can do, you can change the style. Let's say you can remove some of these lines, like as you could just select one of these lines, or you can use one of these predefined ones like this. Super easy. Looks reasonably nice. Yeah. Of course, you can also shade. Try to do this with LaTeX and tell me if you seriously. I mean, these are things that take a lot of effort to do. Again, super nice, and then we're done. Next thing I want to talk about, yes, okay. We can type equations, nice. We can insert figures, nice. We can create tables, nice. What about referencing? Because if you are doing any scientific work or whatever, you always have to cite your sources, right? First thing you have to do is, obviously, when it comes to citing stuff, you have to have your bibliography file, which is something that you should have already created and saved on your computer. I currently have one. The way to include it and make it known to this file is you have to go to Insert, Title, nope, not here, Automatic, Table of, not Table of, Bibliography. Then I go to TTT. Then I have something called Library here for some reason. So I've just included it, which means that I can now start referencing stuff from inside the library. Let's go into and see what the content of this guy. Okay, so basically, so as you can see, this is how a typical a bib file, it's usually called a bibliography file, looks like. Let's say let's choose something like, anyway, this guy. So this is the tag that you can use in your document to reference this particular paper or whatever it was, if it was a book or whatever. So I copy this guy, right? I go back to where I was. Let's create a new section here called a new section. Let's say referencing, yeah. According to, again, it's always according to somebody. Again, you have to put space, tab, to make sure that your referencing actually works. Then, yeah, you just type CITE to cite. Then you can cite as many as you want. Like every time you can do like this guy. Okay, this is one. Press enter. Okay. Now you ask yourself, but why is it question mark? This is because every time you have to the file has to look up some new information. You have to update the file. So every time it has to look up for new information, you have to update the file. And the way you update the file is this hammer arrow here. You can see the hammer icon. You press this once, press it twice. Usually for some reason it's 2 times. And as you can see, it has referenced the file correctly. Let me just do another one just for the sake of whatever. Anyway, this one, again, let's come here and then do, let's come here. Okay, for some reason, let's make this weird, and then you cite again, then I do this one again, and yeah, we again 2 times for some reason. We have we have cited both of them at the same time. Nice. So usually you can see here the citation style that's used is 1 and 2. This is similar to what's commonly used for electrical engineering, IEEE, but you have other options, like you can come in here and let's say, and yeah, you can choose other styles. Choose something that I think you can use on SOT maybe. I don't know what that means, but at the moment I don't know what exactly all of them do, because I haven't tried all of them. Yeah, you can choose the one that you like and then it works. So yeah, we have referencing works nicely, table, figures, equation. Yeah, one of the things you probably think, how do you write matrices? Try to write matrices with how do you say it, with LaTeX. It's a little bit cumbersome, to be honest. Here, this is how you can do it. Let me just show you quickly how you can type a matrix, for example, the M. The way you do it, you just type matrix, bam. Then again, escape, just like a table. You do something like this. Just let's do this. Very nice. So this is a table with a circular bracket. Maybe you like some other bracket, like a square bracket, or a determinant, which means vertical lines. So how do you do that? Again, the tab comes to rescue. So you can press Control Tab, gives you a determinant. Control Tab, it gives you a square bracket if that's what you're looking for. Now notice that we have an equation here, but it was not labeled. Now if I label it, just focus on these 2 guys here. They automatically get updated. Try to do that with Microsoft Word and see if you can do that. You probably end up having to redo everything at the same once again. So basically, TexMacs allows you to it combines the ease of something like Microsoft Word and the nice features, the things that probably force you to use LaTeX, like automatic referencing. You don't have to worry about what is section 1, what is section 2. Please do. You want something else to take care of all of these details. Quite nice. Next step is okay, yes, of course. Next step is maybe you would like a table of content, obviously. So the way you do that is super simple. Again, you come to Insert menu and Automatic, and where's table of content? It's list. Okay, list of figures or list of tables. Table of content. You can choose all these things. Glossary, if that's something you want. Table of content. Again, table of content is something that has to look at the content of the file before it can be generated. So, which means you have to select update. Select update. Yeah. Of course, these things are only there for you to see, so you can turn them off if you're not a fan of. I think document informative flags. Let's make it minimal. Not interested in that at the moment. I was just trying to show you what these things mean. So this is our table of contents. You can also have a table of figures. Next. For some reason, let's see, not for some reason, obviously, maybe you'd like to include some code into your document, right? Of course, you would like to do that. Let's say type in code, source code, yeah, source code. So how can you do that? You do insert, program. You can have an algorithm if that's something you just an algorithm, which looks quite nice actually. Then you can do block of code. Is it block of code? Yeah, block of code. Then you can use Python, for example. Let's say Python. Yeah, you can do import or whatever math. Then you can do def, something like this, A, B. Then you start. Anyway, you get the idea. So it's syntax highlighted. Nice. Another thing that you can do is actually this is something that you can do, which you can do with LaTeX, which is run code directly on the notebook itself. It's not a notebook, but it's a file. Again, how do you do that? Let's create a new section. We can call, let's say, running external environments. Yeah, external environments. Okay, that's the way it's spelled. Then while it's in here, you see this symbol here. You can actually click some of the available ones at the moment. Let's say there's something called Maxima, which is a symbolic calculator, I think. Of course, you need to have a Maxima installed on your computer, which means let's delete that. Again, the type of things that you would do. Let's say differentiate, maybe if you're interested in cos x with respect to x. This is how it's done inside the notebook. And of course, when you save this export as a PDF file, everything looks just like just as it looks now. This is something that you probably, let's say Microsoft Word, there's an issue with Microsoft Word. Let's say you organize things and then you decide at some point, I need to add some content in section 2, and then you add some content in section 2, then everything that was below section 2 gets shifted, and then maybe your figure, which has to be at the top of the page, somehow is now in the middle of the page. And yeah, try to solve that. Or maybe with LaTeX, you have to start going for figures. You have to make sure that you specify, and sometimes you end up with a huge space between maybe page 2 and page 3. Here, the nice thing about this is basically what you see is what you get. So the way, if things look nice now and you're satisfied, then that's how it's going to end up looking. So, I mean, this is how you can use this one. Again, you can even have a Python, what's called, or SymPy if you want to plot stuff. Again, here you can do import math, for example, then math.py. Yeah, that's nice. So what else is there to say? Let me see if there's something else I have forgotten. Yeah, basically, of course, you can change lots of things, like if you like to have if change to A4 paper, you can do some of these things. Change the font, for example. Let me just show you some of the common ones, like Pagella, or whatever, or however it's pronounced. So this is another one. For some reason, it seems that most, how do you say, people, I mean, lots of people these days are going for fancy fonts, not the original Roman style font. I'm a fan of this one, actually. So yeah, you can have lots of things. Then you can change the default paper size, doing 2 column, 1 column, the sort of things you expect. And you can go on the document and you change, for example, the paragraph spacing. Let me just show you quickly. You can choose, actually, let me just move these, I think, this way. So yeah, you can, I don't know why it's looking like, I think this way. Yeah, this is how it's supposed to look like. It's just because I'm using an Italian window manager, that's why sometimes things look weird. So advanced, you can do all of this. I mean, you can always check in here. What else is there to know about? I haven't, of course, you can do like things here like this. Emphasize, it means like italicize, or make it strong, or make it look like a code, or whatever. Or yeah. So let's say you're done now, and then you'd like to export. Okay, one last thing is that if you remember in the beginning, I mentioned that you can use different styles. This was the article. Super easy to change the style for the article. Let's say you'd like to use one by something in Xavier, like this one. It has completely changed it for you to look like this one. As you can see, it's different style. Probably it's because this document is very sparse, so it doesn't look, the change is not very drastic. But let's use something else that you might actually see some difference. Let's say IEEE transaction. Yeah. So yeah, this one has a 2 column. It follows the IEEE transaction style. Anyway, so this is what you can do. You have lots of built-in templates that you can use. Article, nice. Let's go back to the article. Now, how you can, of course, when you type a document, you'd like to export them. First thing you do to make things simple, you press Control P, which means preview, something like this. Preview, yeah. Then if I go to this one, I can come here, for example, I can see my document. This is how it looks like. Very nice, right? And if you remember, I told you about this figure because the way I generated it, it was generated as a vector file, so which means you can zoom in a million times and it looks quite nice, and also it doesn't occupy, it's quite small in size. Very nice, right? Then if you remember, I said this guy, if you click on it, it takes you to the reference of it. So bibliography, you can see all of your file correctly labeled. Looks quite nice. So some of the options that you have that you can do, I mean, you can also create your own template. For example, for some reason, I sometimes like making my equations a different color so that they stand out, make things easy for me to see. Like, for example, I have one I call my article. As you can see, I have it such a way that it's, let's see, equations look a certain color. Maybe it helps, and my chapters look have a different font and whatever. So yeah, you can create yours if you like. Anyway, what else? Of course, if you're a if you're a mathematician, one of the things that you might think of is environments, the sort of things that are available in LaTeX. Like you'd like to have a proof environment, right? You can create your proof environment like this. You'd like to have an exercise environment. Exercise. Is it exercise? No, it's not exercise. It's an example, I think, something like that. You can have example. Then you can have solution. You can see the solution comes nicely underneath this one. Looks very nice. Yeah. So yeah, at the end of the day, you have your file like this. So what else can you do? Maybe for some reason somebody demands that I need a LaTeX. I need whatever it is that you are doing to be in LaTeX. So again, you have the option to file, export LaTeX, and then we can come in here, for example, and then save it. Boom, boom, boom. Save. Let's go this place. So this is the generated LaTeX file. Let's see how it looks like. Again, make it large. As you can see, these are some of the new environments generated by TexMacs, which makes certain things here to define certain, maybe, yeah. I mean, these are just common knowledge if you know LaTeX. So as you can see, the LaTeX, the generated LaTeX is actually extremely clean. I mean, really, really clean. So this is the type of stuff you might be typing with LaTeX if you type in this document with LaTeX. It takes a lot of time, and imagine that you have to wade through all of this code. I mean, you have to mix code with data or with text. It's yeah, not the best in my opinion. So yeah, with this, I guess this supposed to be the end of the video, where I think I have probably explained most of the things that you need to know. It's just, of course, there are some things like how do you define your own custom shortcuts, how do you change some certain things. Of course, if you're interested in, if you find this is something that you might use, then these are the sort of things that you will pursue yourself. With that, I conclude this video.